Okay, so as promised, I'm going to take you through my process of doing commissions, mainly my spaceship scenes I do for Mongoose Publishing. Um, this one's going to start out as 3D using Blender, and then I'm going to paint over in Photoshop. So this one's going to be a long one, but I've been uploading these kind of images for a while and I get lots of questions asking how I make these, so I'm going to take you through the process. So what I'm going to show you guys first is the commission sheet I got sent from Mongoose Publishing. So basically this one, they want this ship. It's quite an easy shape. There's the top, there's the side view. So it's basically like a, how would you describe it? I don't know. It's like a frisbee. Right, and then here's some reference images for the textures on the ship. And then they want it in an epic space scene with a nebula behind it. So I'm going to do that. Here's the dimensions of the file. It's, if I was to choose it myself, it would be like a wide shot, but it's got to fit within a book, so I've got to do it to these dimensions. So let's open Blender. I'll go through how I made this. So here's the basic shape of the ship, and I'm going to set my scene to 112 to 105, which is in the spec. As you can see, it's not the best composition, the best layout, but you know, you got to do it to the spec. So to make this, I'll just go over quickly. I literally just added a UV sphere. There it is. Shaded it smooth, and then I added a modifier to it to smooth it out even more. It was a subdivision surface. As you can see, it's a lot more smoother now. And then to get this shape, I just, let's make it, scale it down a little bit, press S for scale, and then scale it along the Z axis. Oh, wrong way, sorry. Scale it along the Y axis, and then that expands it out that way. S again, scale it along the Z axis, flatten it down. And then I duplicated that shape, scaled it down really small. There's an aircraft going over. Forgive me, every 20 minutes there's going to be an aircraft flying over. I'm currently in Thailand, right next to an airport, so bear with me. You probably won't even be able to hear it. So yeah, there's our basic ship shape. Pretty easy to make. I then applied some textures to it. So here's the viewport render view. I'll just show you what I did. I added this. Right, let's get this off quickly. Oh, that's okay. Zoom into it. I added this panel texture to it, and then added a kind of dark brown colour to it as well. So very simple. Most of the detail of the ship's going to come in the Paintover anyway, so yes. Right, so this is my composition. I think I'm going to go for this. I might play around with it a little bit more now. I've got a light source coming from there. You click on that, and it's just a 1000 watt point light. So I kind of like how that looks already. So I might make this a little bit bigger maybe. Play around with it a little bit more. I'm going to go for that. It's simple. Simple is always better. And then I have my reference on one side. Right, so second thing I'm going to do is change the background. Obviously it's dark like space, so that's a good start, but I want some like nebula kind of vibe going on. So we're going to go to our world shader tab. I'm going to input a environment texture. Another plane. That's 2 in a row. It's going to go pink. And then we're going to open. I've got this collection of like Nebula backgrounds that I use a lot. Again, they're literally just for reference. They'll change a lot in the Paintover. So color textures, go for number 9. I think I want this whole scene to be like a purple color. So that will load in. Okay, nice. So what we can do now is change the position of this background. So we'll go texture coordinate, and then we'll put in a mapping node as well. Bump, connect that to the vector, connect the vector to there, and now we can play around with the position of this. It's pretty awesome looking, that. I think what I'm thinking in my head is the ship is going to be dark with some subtle edge lighting, and the background's going to be quite dramatic, like you can see. Maybe something like that would look pretty cool. Play around with it. That's nice. I like that. But as I said, I want it to be purple, so I'm going to put in a hue saturation node. Oh dear, what happened there? And another plane. That's 3 in a row. Unbelievable. Everyone's going Bangkok today by the looks of it. Or by the sound of it. Shut up! Okay, that's the kind of purple I want. I'm going to turn the saturation down a little bit. And turn the value down. And then maybe as I always say, like, if you've got painting skills, don't worry if your render doesn't look very good. We'll paint over it anyway. I'm thinking I'm going to have a big planet there or something. Big planet here. Maybe a little planet there. I don't know, I'll see. Right, so... next thing I want to do is add some atmosphere. So to do that, we want a cube. Increase the size of the cube, and this is going to act as like a box of atmosphere. So go object, new, going to delete the BDSF principled, and then volume, add a principled volume. That's what you call it's like a volume. On a movie set they have a volume. That's where everything is filmed inside. It's like the environment. So we're going to add one of them. It's going to go too much at first, but we need to lower the density to 0.03, something like that. Maybe a little bit more, 0.005, and then change that to a purpley color. Alright, cool. And as you can see, if I bring in my light a little bit closer, it's got that atmosphere around it. So, right, let's change this to a more interesting color. Ooh, that's cool. So as I said, I want the actual ship to be mainly dark. So let's just play around. I kind of like that because the dark background there is going to contrast. That's what you want, contrast. So we've got contrast here. So there's contrast between the shadow of the ship there and then the light of the background, and then the light reflecting on that side of the ship there, and then the dark of the background. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about when it comes to composition. So we're going to play around with the camera some more. So I get something I think looks nice. This is the beauty of 3D. You can just, you know, I'd have to redraw all this. I kind of like that, actually. It's kind of interesting. That looks cool. But then obviously you've got a load of empty space down here. So I've got to make sure I put something interesting there as well. So that's kind of how composition works. Right, I'm going to insert another light. So light, point, and then I'm going to make it this purple colour. And then probably put it behind the ship. Perfect. Let's do this. It's easier to position stuff this way. Yeah, so we've got a nice rim light there. And then it's starting to get a bit complicated. And there, nice. Right, one thing I haven't done yet, let's go into the render settings and then turn on bloom. There you go, that gives you that extra bloom effect. And then ambient occlusion as well. That'll be your shadows. Your like shadows where no light can reach. What else? Screen space reflections. And then high quality normals as well. Let's save this first. This is the... Oh. Is it JTAS 17? This is the Mega Yacht. That's probably not how you spell yacht, is it? Right, okay. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. It looks nice. Okay. Just play around with it some more. Can make that look even better. Volumetric shadows. Could put the tile size down so that will make things a lot more detailed. Right, I think I'm gonna now play around with... Alright, where's our shading editor? Shader editor. I'm gonna zoom into this. Oh, fuck. Excuse my French. And then just quickly play around with... It might be better to show a little bit more paneling on here. And then so maybe in this dark patch here we can have some little cabin lights. Might zoom in on the camera a little bit. Change the focal length. Yeah, nice. Right, we're definitely going to have a big planet here. There must be. Right, so as I was saying, let's get it off this view. I'm going to make some tiny little lights quickly, so do a UV sphere again. Make it very small. Move it up to my ship. Right, and then add a new material, and this one's going to be called an emission, which is like a light emission. So increase that. That's the brightness of it, and then increase the strength. And then we're going to make the lights very small because this is quite a big ship. Even smaller. Okay, go back to the view. So what colour will look good? I'd say probably like a blue. So let's change that to a blue colour. Yeah. Right, go back to this view. And then I'm going to move them over here. Sorry about my concentration face. Okay, nice. This is exactly what I wanted. I'm going to make them even smaller. Beep beep. Like that. Okay. And then what's going on? Right, and then duplicate them along the ship. Like this. It's a bit of an annoying process, but it will save time when it comes to painting. And another one there. And then we can just grab all four of these and then duplicate. There. Yeah, it looks a little bit more like a ship now, doesn't it? Probably move them down a little bit. Select Go into the view mode. Oh, I've gone inside the ship now. This is when the 3D can kind of get a little bit troublesome. You're trying to place an object in the right area. There you go. How's that? And then probably rotate it. It doesn't matter. I'll make it look right in the Paintover. So I'd say that's actually ready for Paintover now. It didn't take long, did it? So all we got to do now is I'm going to increase the samples. Set that to 200%, so it's a nice big resolution for us. And hit render. And now we wait. Okay, part 2. Now we've got our Blender render completed. I'm going to now drop it into Photoshop. And we're going to start with the Paintover. So at this stage, it's important to get all the values right. The composition's already there, other than the giant planet I want there. Sometimes I start with like a auto contrast, so it obviously wants this to be darker. I don't apply the auto contrast, I just use it as a guide to see kind of what the software wants it to look like. So probably going to have this a lot darker, and then that should sort it out, because obviously this ship is the focal point. So I'm going to do that now actually. So let's put our darkest value onto the ship. So you want any focal point, you want your darkest and your lightest value to be there, because that's going to attract the eye to it. So just using an airbrush, let's get some nice dark values on there. Where's my navigator? There it is. If you see me look over to that screen, I'm just looking at my navigator. It's just like a mini, I've gone over this in another video, it's like a mini view of what you're painting. So you can see the composition, because a composition always works best from far away. Okay, so we've got some nice dark values there, do an auto contrast. You don't really want too much of this to be too dark. We're going to put the planet in there, that's going to bring in some dark values. So what I like doing at this stage is just any weird 3D artifacts like the light. Just use a smudge brush, spread it out a little bit. And then we'll make this a lost edge as well. I've gone over edges before, but yeah, lost edges are always nice. Get that painterly look. This has got we've got to think about storytelling elements as well. This is one thing I'm really focusing on lately. So the image has got to have a purpose. Right, so I'm waffling now. Let's get this planet in there. So we've got our circle lasso tool. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay. So let's make this a nice dark purple. maybe do that the other way around, so we can pick up. Sorry, when I'm concentrating, it's really hard for me to sit and describe, but hopefully you can just watch along and then get something from it. Right, so just add an idea. So where's this red light coming from? It's going to be coming from the planet, guys. This is where it's going to be coming from. Pew! This is what I love about painting. It's fun, man. I like doing this kind of stuff. It's just playing. That's all it is. Just playing. As long as you got... I think with painting you just need to have a good imagination, and you have to have seen many, many sci-fi films to get inspiration. But yeah, it helps being able to visualize something in your head, and for me it helps just thinking in light. It's just, where's the light coming from? For me, that's the most important part of any painting. Let's bring that purple back. Let's get rid of... Here's a cool little thing. So I rendered this just basic flat image, so then you can use color range and just select the background like this. So this is a nice little feature. And we can bring back some contrast. Might change my brush to some sort of soft brush. Put that under. Oh no. Then we got the contrast there between the light of the ship and then the dark of the background. Okay, right, another little tip, flip the canvas. So yeah, I think that's a nice looking composition, that's not bad. What I do need to do, let's merge all of our layers. And what I do need to do, let's set this brush to color dodge and then reduce the opacity and flow down a lot. And then I'm gonna bring in some color and then get some glow. Not too much there. You don't want your highest, that's probably too much already. You don't want your highest value in the corner of the composition, so maybe more here. Let's change the brush, something like that. A bit more up here as well. Nice. Next, I'm going to just do some like there's going to be no real detail at the minute, but I'm going to do some subtle detail on the planet just quickly, just so when I send it off to Cassie, my art director, she'll know what I'm trying to do. Like, she'll know this is a planet. So you're just hinting at some detail at this point. Like so. Smudge it around a bit. Obviously with perspective on the side of a planet, everything's got to be flattened out. So when I'm hinting at detail of the planet, it's nice and flat like this. And let's have some soft edge here. What I like to do sometimes with planets is use my mixer brush here and then just push up. So it's almost like an aurora borealis coming out of the planet. I always think that looks pretty cool. Right. There's currently too much dark on this, so gonna bring in some more values on the planet. Change the color as well, so I think I'm gonna have this going down to blue. There's another plane going over, so ignore that, guys. So this is one thing I've learned in my illustrations as well. Just play around with color. I used to be really shy when it comes to using saturated colors, but now I use them all the time. They're great. And just lots of color variation as well, you know. Don't be afraid to keep changing the hue shifter over here. The more color variation, the better. So I'm going to have this part of the planet starting to pick up some of that purple from the nebula. Just think in light. It's the easiest way to do illustrations, if that makes any sense. Just your light, all anything is. The only reason you can see anything is because it's being lit by something. So you just got to think what's lighting what. So there's light here, so the planet's gonna be picking up off of some of that. So I'm gonna put that in. This is how you achieve realism. You can see there's like a. Let's use. So there's obviously there's like a red light from the left, you know, coming in from somewhere, and that's bouncing off the ship. It's lighting up the planet here, but then you got the purple nebula reflecting onto the planet there. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's save it. Mega Yacht scene. Right, what I want to do now is I might add some stars, bring in some different colours to this nebula up here. So let's use a soft light. Oh, soft light layer. First, actually, I want to push around some of this nebula with my favourite smudge brush. This one. And then we're not just using that stock image. We're going to play around with it ourselves. Use our brains. I think I want that kind of pushing out more over here. Like that. Yeah. Maybe another streak of light coming through. And this way. Might look cool. Slightly different colour maybe. Bit more blue this time. Ba, 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 ba. Right, so let's bring in some splodges of other colours. So bring in some blue over here. Screw that soft light there, that's not doing anything. Here comes another plane. I picked the worst place to stay. No, I love it. It's just hard when recording videos. Yeah, so just mixing in some more colourful elements into this up here. I think here we're going to have a bunch of stars. I might even have like a moon there. I don't know. That might be a good idea. Maybe a little bit of green. Throw it in there. Bring in some of those reds over here. Bit of orange. Mix it around. Like so. Right, let's add some stars. There is a quick way of doing stars, but it's not as effective. This is a fairly quick way. So, what colour are the stars going to be? Probably something like this. So we use a light brush on a new layer. Like that. And then a light centre. And then make it smaller. And then we'll do another variation, slightly different colour. I think I'm going to need a new Wacom tablet soon. Starting to become unresponsive. Again, make it smaller. Maybe something a bit more purple in colour. Next to this guy. Smaller. And again, this one will be a biggie. And then we use our clone stamp. Make all them smaller. Duplicate. Play around with it. Merge that down, duplicate this. Lower the opacity. Lower the opacity. Again, duplicate. Oh. duplicate, make it smaller, and then yeah, we've got some star fields. Just like that. Maybe I'll duplicate this top one. There. Right. Next thing, I just want to bring up some colors again. Bring out some colors rather. Da, da, da. Get a soft brush. Or maybe like a Greg Rakowski brush. Something like this. Nice traditional feel. Yeah. And then lower it right down. Color dodge. Bring in a nice red color. There you go. And then same with the purple. Make some brush strokes. I'll sort out those lights in a minute. I know they look rubbish. Okay, let's bring in some better edge light as well. All this I'm doing really quickly because I've done this a million times. So for you guys, it's obviously going to take longer if you've never done this before. But I've done a million of these space scenes. It's my job. So I've problem solved all these things before. So I kind of know what to do, more or less as I'm doing it. Again, get a nice edge light under here. Just to help that pop out. I've already designed, let me just bring in the actual ship. I've already done my PNG cutout version of this completed ship, and it does look different. Here it is. So I'm going to make it look like this when it's done. So there's like a yellow strip coming down. But that shouldn't be too difficult to do. Okay, nice. What do you think, guys? Right, I think I'm going to have a moon there. So that's easy to do as well. So circle, boom. New layer. Boom. Is that going to be too distracting? This is the question. Play around with the right, so lock it, and then again thinking about where the light is coming from, so we use that color for this side. This is all side lighting, like an eclipse. And then obviously we've got that red as well, just a very subtle hint of the red. Is that too much? Move it around. Why does that not look like a circle? I know it is a circle. Duplicate that, make it smaller. And then I kind of like that there. That looks pretty cool. Maybe some asteroids. Or maybe just like a stronger nebula. Right, let's experiment with this. Sorry, this video is going on a little bit, isn't it? 25 minutes. That's okay. Part 1, part 2. Or just one part. We'll see. I just wanted to show you guys how I did the 3D to 2D. Right, so let's make a nebula quickly. Just want something down here. My composition mind is telling me it needs something. Maybe it's just like gases escaping from the planet. Sometimes I do work a little bit too fast for my own good. I think there's that added pressure when I know I'm recording a video as well for you guys. But it's okay. Smooth that out. Flip it. Yeah, that could work. Merge it. Oh yeah, right, let's adjust these stupid lights. So I filter, liquefy, and then I can just drag these down like that. Right, I'm going to do another video and then show how I lay over photo textures and stuff just to bring out a little bit of extra detail. So see you in the next one.